we've got this lovely blend knob. So we can go from totally clean to full distortion and anything in between. So let's try that.
Oh God, I sound just like you do. Always alone inside my attic.
Wonderful.
Breaking the glass brings me the wound. You are the tree inside my body. Always around my beacon of you.
Good morning, boys and girls. Today we will have a lot of fun. I like fun. I don't know, maybe you like fun too. So how can you have fun in a music studio? Well, you have to get inspired. You need some inspiration. And what about this? We will take some pre-recorded tracks, vocals, drums, kick, snare, you name it. Let's see what we can find. And we will send them through some guitar pedals. I knew you would love this. So we will send them through some guitar pedals and make them kaput. You know what kaput means? I hope so. So yeah, welcome to my little man cave. Let's destroy some things. Before we get started, let me tell you how we're gonna do this. Because there's one thing you need to understand. When we talk about audio signals, there are two worlds. There's the professional studio world and there's the guitar world. And they are somewhat compatible, but not the same. You know, like a horse and a donkey. Somewhat compatible, but you know, it's not the same. If you want me to do more animal videos, let me know. No, but seriously, first of all, in the studio, we mostly have balanced signals. In the guitar world, we only have unbalanced signals. That's one difference. So the signal needs to be converted from balanced to unbalanced if we go from our studio interface to a guitar pedal. And on the way back, it needs to be balanced again. This is typically handled by a transformer, but this is something that is important. That's the first step. The second one is that we have completely different levels. The professional studio level, let's just say I'm sending out something that hits like 0 dB digital full scale in Cubase, like full level in Cubase. That will go into my SSL converter and will have a level of maybe plus 22, 23 dBu, which is way too hot for any guitar gear. Because guitar gear has even softer levels than most hi-fi gear or consumer studio gear. So this will clip and distort any guitar pedal. And we don't want that. I mean, maybe it's cool to have additional clipping if we want to totally distort a kick drum. But we want to start with a clean level. And maybe you also want to use your delay or reverb pedals or something where you don't want distortion. There are not only distortion pedals out there. It's hard to believe, but it's true. So that means we need some sort of pad. You know, the level needs to be taken down to guitar level. And the third thing is the impedance. Because in the guitar world, we have a very, very high impedance. And in the studio world, we have a much lower impedance. And I don't want to explain impedance here, but what you need to understand is that if you connect two devices, the output and the input impedance should have a certain ratio in order for those devices to work properly. That means a guitar pedal or a guitar amp is expecting a certain output impedance from a source, for example, from a guitar pickup, which is very different and much higher than the output impedance of a studio interface. So we need something that, you know, that also adjusts the impedance. What can we do? If you already have a reamping device, you can use it. So you can go from your balanced interface, the signal, go into the reamp, and then you can go into your guitar pedal. And then you can go back through an instrument input of your interface back into the computer. That is the easiest way to do it, but it's also like a lot of cable work and I don't know. But if you already have a reamping signal path, you can use that, because I will promise this will be a lot of fun. But you know what? Let me show you how to do this like a boss. I got this little orange box here, which is so cool. It is from RADIAL. You know RADIAL? cool company, really cool company. Everything I have tried from Radial is not only innovative, but also like really, really high quality. Radial is a cool company. It's all made in Canada. Their DI boxes are great. Their reamping boxes are great. And this is no difference, because this thing will let you send out the signal from your computer into any guitar device, an amp or a pedal, which means it's basically also a reamping box. But then you can go back here, go back into your computer, and you can have this as an insert on any of your tracks, which makes it really, really cool and versatile. So you can just, plug in any pedal you want at any place in your DAW. And I'm using Cubase, but I think all major DAWs these days have a way of like integrating a plugin that actually is connected to directly to the inputs and outputs of your interface, so you can connect the DAW to the outside world. And this little device will take care of the levels of the impedance and of the balancing, unbalancing, all that stuff. Comes very handy. You can also use it like as a reamp. The only missing feature is some kind of ground lift. That would be cool if you could add that, Radial. And as you can see, I'm using the 500 module that usually is in my main control room over there, but today I'm using it here in my little editing room. But there's also another version available that's even cooler. It looks like a big DI box. This one is even in stereo, so you can have a lot more fun. So I have to get another one because I also want to use this in stereo, which means you can also use your delay or reverb or modulation pedals in stereo. Really cool. But let's get started. Let's start mangling those tracks. Let's start with some drums, right? You see, I've got this lovely distortion box connected. It's the Rev G4, which people normally use for high gain guitars, right? It's a high gain pedal. I don't think anybody has ever used it on vocals, drums, I don't know. But that is the cool part about this little tool here, that once it is connected, it is so easy to just throw your track like outside of the box and connect any of the pedals that are, that are around anyway. I'm sure you have a lot of pedals that you're not using when you're mixing. So let's get started. So this is a rough drum recording of a cool shuffle groove played by my man Thomas from the Alligator Wine. Check out the band, there's a link below. Sounds like this. Nice, simple groove. So let's start here. I got one track, and that is my so-called lo-fi track. Recorded with a very cheap mic. Sounds like this. Now I'm loading the plugin, which is already connected to the right inputs and outputs. And by the way, one very important thing is you need to compensate the latency. In case you don't know, any conversion from digital to analog, analog to digital, will introduce a latency, a little delay. So if you mix one of those tracks that you send out and back, you're gonna have phase issues. But the cool thing is that most DAWs will take care of this. So in Cubase, you can just, if you have chosen the right inputs and outputs, you can just ping that delay. In my case, it's 1 milliseconds and 79. So it's gonna be perfectly in phase, but that's important. Okay, let's start tweaking. Now, on this Radial device, you have a send and a return, and that is really helpful because right now I feel even with the gain all the way down on the Rev, there's still too much distortion. So I'm going to bring down the send until I have the right amount of distortion. And I will compensate this with the return. attitude. Blends really nicely, doesn't really sound like an effect if you don't make it too loud, but gives the drum groove so much more attitude. Let's compare again. Awesome, right? Who would have guessed? But that's not all. Why not use it on the vocals? And I think you've heard those vocals before. This is an unreleased track from the Alligator Wine. So let's throw the plugin on the main vocal track. Let's see what happens.
Left the scene, taking the highway. Blood on my hands, over the moon.
Actually sounds really nice too. It's just a little too much. But we've got this lovely blend knob. So we can go from totally clean to full distortion and anything in between. So let's try that.
Oh God, I sound just like you do. Always alone inside my attic.
Wonderful.
Breaking the glass brings me the wound. You are the train inside my body. Always around my beacon of you.
So you can add just a touch of distortion, and that is so helpful. I've been doing that on a lot of mixes on vocals. Here's a little tip. I love tube screamers on vocals. That filter makes it too dull and too extreme if you use the tube screamer 100% on the vocals. But if you just blend it, a touch of tube screamer, great for any also like screaming vocals and stuff like that. So this is very powerful and so easy to set up, you know. And then you can print the track. You can also print like the full mix and later blend it in your DAW. But most of the time I just go like this and
I left the scene, taking the highway.
instant attitude and a lot of fun, you know, because, you know, this is hardware. You've got something to touch, you know. I like touching things. Let's put it on a kick drum, because we all know that distorting kick drums is actually forbidden, at least in metal. So let's have a listen to my kick drum. And that's funny. I'm trying this for the first time. Without the distortion, I can hear the batter head and boom, the thunder coming from the shell. But if we crank this, I can hear the the mids coming from the resonant head, and it gives it an instant 70s feel. That's cool for this kind of music. I've never done this before. So you see, the whole point of making this video is that something like this, you know, gives you inspiration. You're trying new stuff. So we can use a high gain heavy metal guitar pedal on vocals, on drum tracks, on a kick drum even. Isn't this cool? Yes, it is. You can actually also get some seriously great sounding high gain guitar tones with this setup, especially if you have some pedals, some preamps that sound great straight into an IR. For example, like the Grindstein. But I'm not using the Grindstein today because I've shown you that pedal a million times already. So what I've done right now is I have loaded a freeware IR player, which is, what am I using? The Perfect Blend IR from my EMINENCE IR pack, which you got to buy, of course. There's a link below to my EMINENCE digital IR pack, which sounds fucking amazing. And before that, we're hitting a brand new pedal we're working on at the moment at Kristian. This is just a prototype, and I can't tell you much about it, except that it's a really gnarly and cool and evil sounding distortion box that is quite versatile. And sounds nasty, of course. So let's try. You know, we're sending out the DI signal. Sounds like this. This is the infamous Grindstein song, by the way. Now let's activate the IR. And activate the plugin, which sends it through this chain. Nice, evil sounding distortion, right? And that is a pretty cool guitar tone, isn't it? So all I'm using is that pedal and an IR. Awesome, right? And there's more like this. I'm sure you have a lot of pedals that you can use like this. And this is how you can find new guitar tones. So let's try something else. What about this beast here? The Black Beast. This is a distortion fuzz combination or something? I don't know. Let's try. Sounds fucking evil. Let me just try one thing. I'm gonna reduce the bass with a plugin here at a low cut, maybe at 100 hertz or something, before we hit that pedal. Let's see. Makes it a little tighter, a little more modern. And let's add another low cut after the IR. And maybe a little high cut as well. And this is a nasty, but maybe tight enough guitar tone that could be blended with whatever, your 5150, to make things sound more nasty and more botzel. And once again, all you need is a pedal, an IR, and you can have fun. Isn't that cool? I've never used it like that, but now I probably will. I'm sure I have more pedals that work like this. It sounds fucking evil. All right, what else can we do? Let's try bass. Of course. Do we have a bass here? Yeah. The DI sounds like this. But I don't want to use the fuzz pedal. Let's find something else. And one of my favorites is the VT bass from Tech 21 that you can see here. Let's turn on the pedal and tweak it. And here, once again, it makes sense to play with a blend, you know, to blend your distorted signal with the clean DI signal. Let's try. And this is, of course, perfectly in phase anyway, because it's all happening in the analog domain. Let's go for the full dangle. This pedal does a pretty good job of capturing that driven Ampeg feel with that fuzzy low-end distortion. I like it. But that's not so important. You see, you can plug in any bass pedal, your dark glass pedal, whatever you are using, your Sans amp, whatever. It will connect perfectly, and you can even blend the clean signal without being forced to use another track or something. It's so easy that I decided to buy one more because I'm using it all the time. And yeah, I don't want to print too many tracks. I'm lazy, you know that. So this is really cool, and I've just started, you know. I haven't even tried delay pedals and reverb pedals because I'm waiting for another channel so I can do this in stereo. But whatever, connect your Blue Sky or whatever pedal you have, or your analog tape, and drive it into distortion and you know, endless delay loops, shit like that. It's a lot of fun. So this tool is worth the money because it's inspiring. And that's what we're all looking for these days, right? Inspiration. And I'm recently actually getting more inspiration from hardware than from software. And like I said, it's another way of using and abusing your pedals during the mixdown, where you usually don't need them anyway. One word about this room, because everybody's asking. So this is an additional room. I still have my main control room over there, somewhere on the other side of the house. We have 3 rooms here at Kohle Studio. So this is a new room, mainly for editing and recording, but also for YouTube videos. And we're still, like, we're not finished. We're still moving things. We're still waiting for some gear. I'm waiting for some new speaker stands for those Eve monitors. I've just, after 3 weeks, I've decided to keep those Eve audio monitors because they sound lovely. They have really surprised me, because I have not been in love with ribbon tweeters in the past, but these ones, I like them. So far, so good. Once everything's set up, I will make a rundown showing you all the gear and all the details. And I think this will be interesting for you because this room is way smaller and more compact and with less gear than my main control room. So yeah, that's all I wanted to say today. Spontaneous video. You know, get inspired, use your pedals during the mixdown. Buy something like this Radial 500 module or the box. Remember, there's also a box. You don't need a 500 rack if you want to do this. But you can also use your normal reamping signal chain. Use your reamping box, go out of that and go back into an instrument input. That works too. The main point is get inspired and do some unusual shit. I'm sure you can do way more crazy stuff than I did in this video. And remember, you can get great bass tones and guitar tones, high gain guitar tones, just by using preamps and IRs if you have the right gear. Of course, I want you to buy my IRs. Make me rich and famous, as usual. There's a link below. What else? There's a link. There are links to all the gear that is used in this video from Radial and other stuff and Eve and the pedals and I don't know. I'll try to put as many links as possible. And make sure you subscribe to this channel to see more inspirational videos coming from the bald German guy. And yeah, and maybe more animal videos if that's what you want. That was a good one. I mean, at least for German humor, that wasn't too bad. No. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, share the videos, subscribe to my email list, you know, where you can grab some free stuff and join my Discord channel and just read the description, read the fucking description, okay? There's a lot of stuff to unpack there, and you can follow me everywhere. I love you all, my friends, boys and girls. That's all for today. I see you in hell, motherfuckers. Bye-bye.